Tonight on the Night Team. Multiple people are injured after a person threw Molotov cocktails at people where a pro-Israel demonstration was being held in Boulder, Colorado.
I ask that you join me in thinking about our victims, the families of those victims.
FBI now investigating this as a targeted terror attack. Plus, a Kentucky senator is looking to unseat Bobby Holsclaw as Jefferson County Clerk, a position she's held for nearly 30 years.
If given the opportunity, I know I can make Jefferson County better. So good that we could lead the nation.
This is the second Democrat this week to come out as a candidate. The reasons for the run. And later, hundreds of furry friends and their humans spent the day at Waterfront Park. We're taking you to the 31st annual Kentucky Humane Society Wagon Tail event. The WHAS11 Night Team starts now. Tonight, the FBI is investigating what they're calling a targeted terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. It's our top story here on the Night Team. I'm Alex Dieterer. Authorities say a group of people were participating in a pro-Israel peaceful demonstration when a suspect began the attack. Police say the attacker threw Molotov cocktails at people as well as used a makeshift flamethrower. In total, 6 people taken to the hospital. ABC has the details.
Police in Boulder, Colorado, responding to reports of injuries at the Pearl Street Mall Sunday afternoon that left multiple people injured.
There's multiple mixed reports about if people are on fire now. We're getting lots of 911 calls.
Investigators say witnesses pointed out an alleged suspect at the scene, and that person was taken into custody without incident.
The suspect was heard to yell, "Free Palestine," during the attack. The subject has been identified as Mohammed Sabri Solomon, and he's 45 years old.
A large area around the pedestrian mall blocked off by authorities, businesses closed, and people asked to avoid the area.
It's very scary and it's a huge shock. It's a big thing that, sadly we've experienced before, but it's really scary and it's really upsetting that it's happening in Boulder.
Multiple law enforcement agencies on the scene, the police chief asking for patience as they investigate.
This was a beautiful Sunday afternoon in downtown Boulder on Pearl Street. And this act is unacceptable. I ask that you join me in thinking about our victims, the families of those victims, and everyone involved in this tragedy.
Police say there was a group of pro-Israeli demonstrators on the mall and say they're questioning witnesses to determine if the group was targeted.
Basically, to use the word terrorism, you're going to have to show some ideology, typically. Now, that doesn't have to mean it's Islamic. It could be anything.
The FBI says they're investigating this incident as an act of terror and targeted violence. Colorado Governor Jared Polis also calling it a heinous act of terror, writing on X, "Hate-filled acts of any kind are unacceptable." Boulder's Jewish community putting out a joint statement saying in part, "Our hearts go out to those who witnessed this horrible attack and prayers for a speedy recovery to those who were injured."
House Speaker Mike Johnson condemning the attack, calling it heartbreaking and deeply disturbing. And we're told President Trump has been briefed about the incident. Mola Lengi, ABC News, Boulder.
In a statement, the Kentucky Jewish Council responded to the attack, saying in part, quote, "The Kentucky Jewish Council urgently calls on the U.S. Department of Justice and the State Department to investigate the extremist networks behind these actions and to deport any non-citizen organizers connected to foreign terrorist entities," end quote. A young man is dead and 2 others are critically injured after a car accident last night. This crash happened around 11:30 last night on Painville Road in Meade County. Kentucky State Police say 20-year-old Robert Eldridge was driving a Ford Mustang when he attempted to pass another car, hitting a truck head-on. Eldridge died at the scene. Both people in the truck were flown to UofL Hospital with severe injuries. And today, a multi-vehicle crash resulted in a rollover on I-265. This happened around 2 this afternoon on I-265 southbound near I-71. Officials say 3 cars collided, resulting in a Ford Expedition rolling over. A total of 5 people were transported to the hospital with injuries but are expected to survive. The highway is now back open, but all southbound lanes were shut down for about an hour today. LMPD's 8th Division is handling the investigation. Well, another Democrat has thrown their hat in the ring for a seat held by Republicans for more than 3 decades. State Senator David Yates has joined the race to unseat Bobby Holsclaw as county clerk. WHAS 11 Night Team's Clarice Shaley and photojournalist Aspen Hester spoke to Yates today on why he's interested in taking a different role in public service.
And I love serving my community, and I think this is just another opportunity that I can make a very real and true impact.
You may recognize this face, Kentucky Democratic Senator David Yates from Louisville. He served as Metro Council member and council president, and he's ready to serve locally again as Jefferson County clerk.
Looking back and seeing the debacles that we happened in our past, not just this past election, but the past 2 elections, really energized me to get involved. And ultimately, the decision was made that I'd be the best person for the job.
Yates referencing the ransomware attack last summer where Russian hackers got into county clerk employee computers and the long lines experienced on Election Day when technology issues delayed voting. He wants to move more office tasks online.
I've heard the complaints, and we've looked at best practices throughout the United States. And I'm ready to implement those.
Yates has been senator since 2021 and was re-elected just last year. If elected as the next clerk, his seat would be vacant for the rest of his term, about 6 months.
This isn't about me. This is about an opportunity to serve my community. And I see a need for change.
While Yates wants to take the seat, he's up against longtime public servant Bobby Holsclaw, who's held the position of county clerk for 27 years. Holsclaw has been the county clerk for the majority of the nearly 40-year Republican control of the seat.
Because when you've got an incumbent who's done, in our view, a fantastic job.
WHAS 11 spoke to chair of the Republican Party, Don Fitzpatrick, on Thursday.
You're going to have people that know that they better get out early in order to effectively compete.
The Jefferson County Republican Party believes the issues with the cyber attack and long lines Election Day were handled well. The election isn't until 2026, and whether Holsclaw decides to run again, her party is backing her.
At this point, I certainly have no intention of trying to do anything that would disrupt her making a personal decision just based on the fact, the respect that we have for Bobby and the job that she's done on behalf of Jefferson County.
And more changes to come in the candidates for the race with a filing deadline of January 2026. With photojournalist Aspen Hester, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
Yates is the second Democrat to announce interest in being the next Jefferson County clerk. Roz Welch kick-started her campaign just days ago on Thursday. One Indiana farmer is facing a new challenge thanks to Trump's tariff policies. Brian Warpup is a longtime farmer in Indiana and has faced tough conditions from severe weather to the pandemic. However, Warpup says Trump's trade war with China will have one major impact on how he sells his crops. Over 60% of the soybeans he grows are sold to other countries, including China, which is facing 145% tariffs. Trump has given a 90-day pause to help with negotiations, but Warpup says that timeline ends right before harvest.
I hope for either a second pause to get me through harvest, or that time is negotiated to get a deal with those countries that are involved. Either way, it's a lot easier on my family farm and my life if it's not as turbulent and it's a little more smooth.
Trump is hoping China and the U.S. can come to an agreement before the end of the 90 days. However, the administration said talks have stalled, and the president is accusing China of not holding up their side of the bargain. Meanwhile, Trump's tariff plans face an uncertain future with a battle in the courts. A new lawsuit filed against the administration claims they've overstepped their authority, as only Congress has the power to implement tariffs. And this comes as Trump's legislative centerpiece faces an uncertain future in the Senate. Trump's budget bill, the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, barely passed the House and now has little chance of passing the Senate without major changes. House Speaker Johnson urged his Senate colleagues to be united and now make changes to the bill. However, Republican Senator Rand Paul tells CBS the math doesn't really add up.
I think there are 4 of us at this point, and I would be very surprised if the bill at least is not modified in a good direction.
We're 100% confident that this bill is going to pass, because in the end, the senators who are worried about the bill understand that you're going to cast the economy into recession and vote for the biggest tax hike in history if you vote against the bill.
The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office predicts the bill could add $3.8 trillion to the federal deficit over 8 years, and there is also bipartisan concern that millions would lose health care under the bill with Medicaid cuts. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security made a comprehensive list of what they call sanctuary cities, and Louisville is on that list. The department posted on social media saying sanctuary jurisdictions are deliberately obstructing the enforcement of federal immigration laws. They said, quote, they are exposing these politicians who are harboring illegal people. Among the list are these Kentucky counties: Campbell County, Franklin County, Jefferson County, and Scott County. When asked about the new report, Mayor Craig Greenberg said Louisville has never had this status.
At this time, it is unclear why Louisville is on this list. In 2018, the U.S. Department of Justice under President Trump confirmed that Louisville was not a sanctuary jurisdiction, and there have been no changes in our immigration policies or practices since that time.
The mayor said he's proud so many immigrants call Louisville home, but if someone does break the law, they are held to the same standard no matter their immigration status. Governor Andy Beshear may call a special session to unlock more funds for disaster relief. Kentucky has been hit hard by several weather events already this year, and after the latest deadly tornadoes, Beshear said he's concerned they'll reach the spending cap set by the legislature. The governor, however, said he needs to wait on the official numbers to come in, and he wouldn't call a session without speaking with the legislative leaders first.
But I don't have those numbers. I don't have any set date. And certainly before we would set any date, we'd talk to the General Assembly. I'm not going to call a special session unless leadership is for it. I want to make sure that if we do it, it's successful and that they feel like they have enough information to be confident in it.
Senate President Robert Stivers has already said he would be in favor of allocating more money should the state need it. Governor Beshear said once he has the final numbers for damage repairs, his office will share those with the legislature. Kentucky is facing a looming shortage of new phone numbers with the 502 area code. The 502 region is expected to run out of those numbers by 2027. So now the Kentucky Public Service Commission is seeking your input as it considers creating a 6th area code. Those meetings start tomorrow. That first meeting is in Bardstown at 6 p.m. in the Nelson County Fiscal Courtroom. Then on June 3rd, there will be one in Georgetown at 6 p.m. And the last one will be this week. That's held right here in Louisville on June 5th at the JCTC Southwest campus.